Hi, welcome back to Martial Art Tutorials. Today I'm with Sensei Frank, who is Kendo Iaido School. Sensei Frank is going to explain us what is Kendo, what is Iaido. He's going to give us a little background on the martial art. Well, Sensei, tell us a little bit about Kendo and Iaido and your school, your dojo.
First of all, thank you for having me on your tutorial here. We're called the Institute of Budo Studies, and we're located in the Japan Cultural Center on the 73rd and Coral Way. We focus on three primary arts: Kendo, Iaido, and Kobudo.
Okay.
Kendo is Japanese fencing used with armor and the swords represented by bamboo swords. Iaido is the art of drawing and cutting, and Kobudo refers to a martial art that was created before the 1600s. Okay. So making it meaning old style. Ko is old, Budo is martial arts. And the style of Kobudo that we practice is called Jushin Sochuryu, which you'll show some clips, I suppose, later on.
The clip should be right here below, so pay attention to the clips that are here so you can see some move of the style.
So, as I mentioned, we're part of the Institute of Budo Studies. The first kanji is Budo Kenkyu Jo, which simply means Institute of Budo Studies in Japanese. And our school follows three main principles: Tadashiku, Kibishiku, Tanoshiku. So this is correctness, strictness, and happiness. And as promoted and taught to me by my sensei, we try to follow these concepts in our training to hopefully strive for a better life through training. So, and as mentioned there, we've been around since 2003, so we're going on just over a decade of martial arts training here. Kendo, Japanese fencing, as it's loosely translated into English, comes from Kenjutsu, or the art of the sword. Now, when you hear the term Jitsu and Do, Jitsu refers to the practical application of a martial art for actual combat. Do is the martial art, meaning it means way, and it's for self-improvement. It's a spiritual development or for body conditioning. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to practice the martial art for the purpose of fighting. And that was a philosophy that really came into action in the early 1900s as Budo was entering its modernization / westernization phase. So Kendo started to take form in the early 1600s, and the reason was quite simple: so that the samurai could practice their sword arts without getting injured. And they initially started with Bokken, which is the hard wood sword, and then towards the first quarter of the 16th century, the Shinai was created, and as well as the first set of Kendo Bogu, or armor, which was fashioned after the Yoroi, the samurai armor. So as it progressed through Japan, through Japanese history and time, when it came to Japan's opening ports, and heavy influence from the West, and Western sports having an influence on Japanese school children, as a way of preserving Japanese culture, they began to teach martial arts in the school system, primarily Kendo and Judo. And of course, in order to do this, they had to standardize it. And they infused some Western philosophy, such as the sport aspect of Kendo, and the point systems, and courts, and tournaments. Most of that comes from Western sports. Now, Iaido is the art of drawing and cutting with the sword, and it went through a pretty steady evolution process as well, beginning as Bato Jitsu, as the art of the striking sword. Then as it moves into the Edo period, it modernizes a bit. You know, the samurai aren't wearing really armor too much anymore. They're more dress clothing and that sort of thing. Iai-jitsu becomes developed through Hayasaki Jinsuke. The creation of Muso Jikiden Eshiryu begins. And then, of course, the final stage of modernization when the daisho are banned, and then begins the study of BI. That's a little background on the martial art, on Kendo and Iai. Now, in regards to the characteristics, the difference between Kendo and Iaido, Kendo coming from Kenjutsu means that the fight already started with the sword already out of the scabard. Iaido, the combat starts before the sword ever goes out. So it's considered a surprise attack or surprise counterattack techniques is a specialty, and of course, the ideal characteristic is to draw and cut simultaneously. So, in regards to the ranking systems, we go from 6Q generally to first Q, usually 3-month intervals. It's like going from yellow belt to orange belt would be the equivalent in karate. And then in Kendo, you go from first Dan after the first Q, and all the way to Hachidan. Now 8 Dan is perhaps the most difficult test in the world when it comes to martial arts. On average, you have 1,100 people that test in Japan twice a year, and the average pass rate is anywhere between 10 to 15 that actually pass the exam. I know people that have been trying to pass it now for 20 years. So it is considered one of the most difficult exams. Now, generally speaking, between Dan ranks, you wait whatever amount of years you are. So if you're Shodan, you wait 1 year to test for Nidan, for your second Dan, and 2 years to test for Kusadan. And most martial arts functions that way. Iaido follows a very similar model of ranking. Some schools will start students at 10th Q instead of 6th Q, and others may start them as high up as 3rd Q, and then go to 1st Q, and then the Shodan, Dan ranks. Of course, there are Shogo ranks as well, which identify the different levels of instructors. So you have Denshi, Kyoshi, and Hanshi. Denshi normally is a rank that's awarded after someone has completed 5th or 6th Dan, depending on the art. Kyoshi, 6th, 7th Dan, and Hanshi is reserved for the Hachidan rank. So you can imagine that Kendo, Hanshi, Hachidan is extremely highly regarded, well-rounded, supposedly, instructor. And when you reach these stages, it is expected that you not only give back with Kendo service, that you promote the art, that you share responsibility in testing panels and seminars and that sort of thing. So, as you can see, even through their ranking systems, they've tried to show that it's not just about striking, it's also about a lifestyle. And this philosophy is something that has been tried to push through, starting with Jigoro Kano, the founder of Judo. Actually, I would say the founder of this initial concept as he brought Budo into the Japanese school system all the way in the 1910s. So.
One question, does Kendo has strikes not only with the sword, but those can use like kicks or push the person while
it's a good question. Because Kendo used to have different striking techniques. They used to have kicking, they used to have takedowns. But as it's become more modern, techniques have focused only with the shinaki. They're only with the bamboo sword now. And you have 3 striking areas. You have the head, which is called the men, the wrist, which is called kote, the sides of the torso, or do, and linear straight strike, thrust to the throat, which is called tsuki. Now, when you first look at Kendo, you think, oh, it's just kind of stick fighting. But there is a precise order to the striking process. It's called Yuko Datoksu, and it's the correct striking procedure, and incorporates different elements that you must demonstrate in order to score a point in Kendo. And when you test, when you go to the Shinsa, which is the testing, you have to also be able to demonstrate the various components to engaging the opponent and to attack, to counterattack anything.
Sensei, what is a benefit for somebody who would like to practice Kendo? Somebody to practice Kendo, what would you recommend, for what reason?
I think there are a couple of benefits to training Kendo. The first one is a great cardiovascular training. Secondly, it's a cultural study, so it's not just going to the gym and lifting weights and running, but you also have a Japanese cultural perspective to it through language and different activities and events that you can learn through Kendo. So there's also competition, and there's also the drive and the push to self-improvement that's learned through Kendo. So I think that these are some of the benefits that lie within the study of Kendo.
Where is the school located? Can you?
The school is located on 7360 Southwest 24th Street. We're in Miami, Florida. You can take a look at our website, udostudies.com or kendomiami.com. We'd be more than happy to answer any inquiries you may have. You're welcome to come and try a few different sessions. Like I said earlier, we have a Kendo, Iaido, and Kobudo. You can come try a few of each. More than welcome.
Below is gonna be a link for the information, just in case. And thank you very much for your time, Sensei.
Pleasure.